Listen, I need to tell you about a pattern that's been hiding in plain sight across every single Love Island franchise. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. What I'm about to expose spans multiple countries, dozens of seasons, and reveals a pattern so disturbing that government officials have had to get involved. We're talking about contestants being removed mid-season for using racial slurs, winners walking away with prize money despite histories of colorist content, and relationships that were apparently fake from day one, all while production teams either failed to catch these red flags or simply didn't care enough to act. But here's what's really going to shock you. This isn't just about individual bad actors. We're looking at systematic issues that have led to 4 former contestants unaliving themselves, parliamentary inquiries, and a mental health crisis that the industry is still struggling to address. By the end of this video, you'll understand why former contestants are warning people not to apply, why viewers in multiple countries are calling for boycotts, and why some experts believe the entire reality dating format might be fundamentally broken. So buckle up, because we're about to unpack the most comprehensive look at reality TV's racism problem that nobody wants to talk about.
Give this attention only one time, because this is like crazy.
Austin Shepard is speaking out. After returning home from the Love Island villa, the season 7 star takes to his Instagram story on July 4th to address a fan-submitted question that he is a, quote, racist bigot.
Give this attention only one time, because this is like crazy. But are you dumb? Like, honestly, are you dumb? Like, do you not think? I have a black woman tatted on my side. Use your head.
Austin was one of the original contestants on the new season of Love Island USA. He was originally coupled up with castmate Shelly Basaint before ending up with Casa Amor bombshell Jaden Duggar.
I want to first start by addressing not just anyone that I have hurt or deeply offended, but most importantly, the entire Asian community. I am deeply, truly, honestly so sorry.
No, I can't believe people think that I'm racist. I mean, I get it. I said a word that I should have not said. But man, I wish I would have never said that, you know? So, I mean, it is what it is.
Before we dive into the individual cases, let me paint you a picture of what we're actually dealing with here. Love Island USA Season 6's Kenny Rodriguez situation that I've covered before, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Season 7 had contestants removed for using racial slurs, not just one, but multiple people with documented histories of problematic behavior somehow making it through casting. The winner herself faced accusations of colorist content after walking away with $50,000. But here's where it gets really concerning. When you look at the UK version, fans have literally counted instances where black contestants are consistently picked last or eliminated first. It took 11 seasons before a darker complexion black woman won. The mathematical impossibility of that being coincidental is pretty striking. Australia's version saw their first black contestant come off the show to find her inbox flooded with racial slurs and someone creating an Instagram page comparing her to a black cow. Multiple countries, same patterns, same outcomes. And we haven't even talked about the mental health crisis yet. The 4 former contestants who unalived themselves, the inadequate aftercare systems, or the production teams that apparently exploit contestants' known insecurities for entertainment value. Let's start with the most recent Season 7 of Love Island USA, which turned into what can only be described as a racism controversy assembly line. And honestly, watching it unfold in real time was exhausting. First up, Yulisa Escobar, removed after just 1 episode, when clips surfaced of her using racial slurs on a podcast.
But you know what? If people feel so pressed about a word, then it should be removed from music, because you guys are out here dehumanizing the word. Because in every song, every rap song, the word is on there.
No explanation from production, just suddenly gone from the villa. Then came Sierra Ortega, who made it all the way to becoming frontrunners to win before old Instagram posts revealed her using anti-Asian slurs, specifically in the context of getting cosmetic procedures to change features associated with Asian identity. But here's the twist that nobody saw coming. The winner of Season 7, Amaya Espinal, who walked away with $50,000, had her own problematic history surface post-victory. Screenshots started circulating of old social media content where she allegedly shared posts ranking women by skin tone, with darker-skinned women receiving the harshest judgments and most derogatory descriptions. Austin Shepard also faced racism allegations, which he denied by saying he had a black woman tattooed on my side. Because apparently, that's how we measure someone's character now. The mental gymnastics are truly something to behold. Meanwhile, the Kenny Rodriguez and Janae Craig situation from Season 6 was still sending shockwaves through the Love Island community. Here you had a year-long relationship that appeared genuine, only for Janae's friends to reveal they found evidence suggesting Kenny had been privately expressing very different feelings while discussing the financial benefits of staying with her. The pattern was becoming undeniable. Season 6's devastating relationship revelation, Season 7's rapid-fire removals, and a winner with problematic content in her past. This wasn't isolated incidents anymore. This was systematic. But listen, this isn't just an American problem. The UK version of Love Island has been dealing with similar issues for years, and the patterns are eerily familiar. Season 12 started with immediate controversy when Blue Chagini told Alima Gagigo, "I'll be honest, on paper, you're not my type," after she chose to couple with him. Viewers didn't need much imagination to understand the implications, especially when you consider that it took 11 seasons before a darker complexioned black woman was declared winner. The mathematical impossibility of that being coincidental is pretty stunning. Here's what's particularly troubling about the UK version. Fans have literally counted multiple instances where black contestants were left as last choice during coupling ceremonies or were first to get eliminated. Season 8 saw the first 4 eliminated contestants all being black: Afia Tunkmore, Remy Lambert, Ikenna Ikwana, and Amber Beckford. ITV received over 3,600 complaints related to perceived racial bias. And honestly, when that many people are seeing the same patterns, it might be time to examine what's actually happening rather than dismissing it as coincidence. Love Island Australia hasn't been immune to these issues either. Cynthia Taylor, the first black contestant on the Australian version, came off the show to find her inbox flooded with racial slurs. Someone literally created an Instagram page comparing her to a black cow, because apparently that's where we are as a society. Vaku Kalapura from Season 4 made some particularly insightful observations about the casting process. She pointed out that while it's positive to cast diverse contestants, it becomes problematic when none of the other contestants seem genuinely interested in dating them. As she put it, if you're going to bring a black person onto the show, why didn't you bring someone who is attracted to them? The Australian version also revealed some interesting behind-the-scenes information. According to former contestant Tina Provis, Love Island USA actually requires contestants to complete diversity and inclusion courses via Zoom before entering the villa, including training on identifying microaggressions and inappropriate behavior. If that's what they're doing with training, it makes the continued problems even more concerning.
We left, they gathered us all together, the producers gathered us all together, and then they said, unfortunately, Sierra's has broken some of the policies of our guidelines. She'll no longer be here in the villa, and that's the only information we can give you guys.
While I was in the villa, there were some posts that resurfaced from my past where I was very naively using an incredibly offensive and derogatory term. And before I get into the details, I want to first start by addressing not just anyone that I have hurt or deeply offended, but most importantly, the entire Asian community. I am deeply, truly, honestly.
Now, here's where things get really dark, because the racism issues are just one layer of a much deeper problem. Love Island has a mental health crisis that's been brewing for years, and it's getting worse with each season. 4 former Love Island contestants have unalived themselves: Sophie Graydon and Mike Thalacidis from the UK version, along with others from various international versions. That's not reality TV drama. That's a genuine public health concern. Former contestant Johnny Mitchell revealed that producers deliberately exploited his body image issues by forcing him to read out that only 12% of viewers found him attractive. They knew he struggled with these feelings, and they weaponized them for entertainment. The callousness of that approach is genuinely shocking. Season 7 USA contestant Huda Mustafa became the center of mental health discussions when viewers started armchair diagnosing her with various conditions based on her emotional responses in the villa. The fact that we're now casually speculating about people's mental health for entertainment shows how far we've fallen. Here's what really needs to be addressed. How are contestants with documented histories of problematic behavior making it through casting? Social media histories aren't difficult to research. So either the vetting process is inadequate, or these attitudes are more widespread than anyone wants to admit. The inconsistency in responses is also telling. Some contestants are removed immediately when controversies surface, while others continue appearing in episodes even after problems become public knowledge. When Sierra was finally removed, it got less than a minute of airtime and was described as leaving due to a personal situation. But get this, Love Island USA actually has more comprehensive mental health protocols than many other versions. They provide psychological screening, social media training, a minimum of 8 therapy sessions after the show, and proactive care for 14 months post-filming. If that's considered good practice, it makes you wonder what other reality shows are doing.
What's happening on Love Island reflects larger societal issues that extend far beyond reality TV. The dating preferences we see played out in these villas mirror real-world biases that exist in everyday social interactions. But the villa environment amplifies and magnifies these attitudes. The concerning part is how these shows can normalize certain behaviors. When viewers consistently see contestants of certain backgrounds being overlooked or facing different treatment standards, it reinforces existing social hierarchies. Reality TV becomes a mirror that not only reflects society, but also shapes viewer expectations about what's considered normal or acceptable. The international nature of these patterns suggests we're dealing with deeply embedded cultural attitudes that transcend national boundaries. Whether it's Australia, the UK, or the US, similar dynamics emerge, indicating these aren't cultural quirks, but systematic issues that require systematic solutions.
What's particularly concerning is how these patterns repeat across different cultural contexts. Whether it's the UK, USA, or Australia, the same issues keep emerging. Contestants of color being picked last, eliminated first, or facing different standards of behavior than their white counterparts. The fact that this happens regardless of the specific cultural context suggests these aren't isolated incidents or cultural quirks. They're reflecting deeper, more systemic attitudes about desirability and worth that transcend national boundaries. In some cases, international versions have tried to address these issues. The US version's diversity training and the UK version's increased casting of diverse contestants show awareness of the problem. But awareness without meaningful change in outcomes suggests the solutions aren't working. Here's where things get even messier. The way these controversies play out online has become almost as problematic as the original issues. Contestants face death threats, families get harassed, and the conversation often devolves into the same kind of hateful language that caused the problems in the first place. The speed at which these controversies spread means there's no time for nuanced discussion. Everything becomes binary, cancel or defend, with very little space for the complex conversations these situations actually require. Former contestants have had to turn off comments, deactivate accounts, and seek mental health support just to cope with the online response. But listen, some of the response has included the same kind of discriminatory language that the original posts contained. Fighting racism with more racism isn't solving anything, and it's creating additional trauma for everyone involved. Here's something we need to acknowledge. Audiences play a significant role in perpetuating these problems. The demand for drama and controversy creates financial incentives for producers to cast people who generate that kind of content, regardless of the human cost. Social media engagement drives everything now. Controversial contestants get more followers, more screen time, and more post-show opportunities. This creates a perverse incentive structure where problematic behavior is essentially rewarded with fame and fortune. We've also created an environment where viewers feel empowered to send death threats and harassment to contestants while hiding behind usernames and profile pictures. The same people calling out racism often engage in equally toxic behavior, creating cycles of abuse that perpetuate the original problems.
When you step back and look at the bigger picture, what's happening across Love Island franchises worldwide isn't coincidental. We're seeing consistent patterns of discrimination, inadequate vetting processes, mental health crises, and production responses that prioritize entertainment over human welfare. The fact that similar issues emerge regardless of cultural context, production team, or specific casting choices suggests these problems are deeply embedded in how reality TV operates as an industry. It's not just about individual bad actors. It's about systemic issues that create environments where these behaviors flourish. Former contestants across multiple versions have spoken about feeling unprepared for the psychological challenges, inadequate support systems, and the way their experiences are edited to create narratives that don't reflect reality. These aren't isolated complaints, they're consistent themes. Here's something that doesn't get discussed enough: the role of editing in perpetuating these problems.
Contestants have no control over how their stories are told, which scenes are included, or how their personalities are portrayed to viewers. Some former contestants have revealed that they received significantly less screen time than white contestants, making it nearly impossible for viewers to connect with them or vote to keep them in the villa. When your entire Love Island experience depends on public voting, unequal screen time distribution essentially predetermines outcomes. The editorial choices around how to handle racism controversies have also been inconsistent and problematic. Some incidents get minimal coverage, while others dominate news cycles, with no clear criteria for what determines the level of response.
Even with improved mental health protocols, the aftercare systems clearly aren't adequate for the scale of trauma some contestants experience. The transition from complete isolation and constant surveillance to sudden internet fame and public scrutiny is jarring under the best circumstances. When you add racial abuse, death threats, and the discovery that relationships were fabricated, the existing support systems seem woefully inadequate. 8 therapy sessions might sound reasonable, but for someone dealing with the kind of psychological damage we've seen, it's barely scratching the surface.
The 14-month support period sounds substantial until you realize that the internet is forever, and the consequences of appearing on these shows can follow people for years or even decades. Former contestants have described struggling with anxiety, depression, and PTSD long after their official support periods ended.
So where do we go from here? Because honestly, the current system isn't working for anyone except possibly the production company's bottom lines. Better vetting processes would be a start, but they need to go beyond simple social media scrubs. Psychological evaluation should screen for attitudes that could be harmful to other contestants, not just the individual's ability to handle fame. Casting needs to prioritize genuine compatibility over drama potential. If you're going to include diverse contestants, include people who are actually interested in dating them. The current approach sets people up for rejection and eliminates the possibility of authentic connections. Production transparency around elimination decisions would help viewers understand when someone leaves for misconduct versus other reasons. The current practice of vague explanations breeds conspiracy theories and misinformation.
Here's what's particularly troubling. Very few people involved in these situations seem willing to take genuine accountability. Contestants issue carefully crafted apologies that minimize their behavior. Production companies make policy changes that don't address root causes. Networks continue profiting from formats that consistently produce these problems. Kenny Rodriguez's response to the allegations exemplified this pattern. A polished statement that acknowledged the relationship ended without addressing any of the specific claims about his behavior or motivations. It's the kind of non-apology that takes responsibility for nothing while sounding reasonable on the surface. Until there are real consequences for this behavior, financial, professional, or social, there's no incentive for meaningful change. The current system rewards problematic behavior with fame and fortune, while punishing victims with harassment and mental health struggles.
But listeners, the most important change might need to come from us as viewers. We have more power than we realize to influence what gets produced and how people are treated within these systems. We can choose to support contestants who demonstrate genuine growth and accountability while holding others responsible for harmful behavior. We can have conversations about these issues without adding to the toxicity that created the problems in the first place. Most importantly, we can remember that behind every controversy is a real person dealing with real consequences. The line between entertainment and exploitation has become dangerously blurred, and we all play a role in determining where that boundary gets drawn.
Looking at how different countries have attempted to address these issues reveals some interesting approaches. The UK's parliamentary inquiry into reality TV's impact on mental health led to industry-wide guidelines that other countries have adopted. Australia's requirement for diversity training shows recognition that education might prevent some problems before they start. The US version's expanded mental health protocols demonstrate that more comprehensive support is possible when there's genuine commitment to contestant welfare. But none of these solutions have eliminated the underlying problems, which suggests that piecemeal reforms aren't sufficient. More fundamental changes to how these shows operate may be necessary to create genuinely safe and equitable environment.
Here's the reality. These problems aren't going away unless there are systematic changes to how reality TV operates. The current combination of financial incentives, public scrutiny, and competitive dynamics creates conditions where exploitation and discrimination can flourish. The patterns we've seen across multiple seasons, countries, and franchises suggest these aren't isolated incidents, but predictable outcomes of flawed systems. Until the fundamental structure changes, we'll likely continue seeing similar controversies emerge with each new season. But there's still hope for change.
Increased public awareness, contestant advocacy, and regulatory pressure are forcing production companies to at least acknowledge these problems exist. Whether that awareness translates into meaningful action remains to be seen. The conversations happening now around consent, mental health, and exploitation in reality TV could lead to industry-wide reforms that protect future contestants, but only if we maintain pressure for accountability and refuse to accept the status quo as inevitable. What we're witnessing isn't just reality TV drama, it's a reflection of broader societal issues around race, mental health, and human dignity. How we address these problems in entertainment contexts may influence how we handle them in other areas of life. The stakes are higher than ratings or social media engagement. We're talking about real people's lives, mental health, and fundamental dignity.
And honestly, that should matter more than any amount of entertainment value.